Sales and marketing for early stage entrepreneurs is completely different than later stage. You're doing so many things that are not scalable, and this is a video teaching you some of the basics. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the Startup Studio. My name is Christian Peverelli, the co-founder of We Are No Code. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how to go about sales and marketing early stage. If you haven't already, and if this is the first time checking out this channel, we teach entrepreneurs who are non-technical, so don't know how to code, how to build their startups and get their first paying customers. And so please follow, subscribe, give us some love so we can continue doing what we do and bring you some awesome tips. Now, when we talk about early stage entrepreneurship, we're not necessarily really referring to sales and marketing. We're talking about acquiring our first 100 customers. And those first 100 customers we're gonna acquire in ways that may not be scalable, right? And we are learning so much from these individuals that we're then going to be able to use when it comes to creating scalable sales and marketing processes and sales and marketing departments. Now, I know that a lot of people think that sales is really a bad word, but what's important is that regardless whether you're technical, non-technical, a salesperson, or an engineer, you want to be the one doing the early sales and marketing, because as an entrepreneur, you're the one who has decision-making power in your startup. And it's the same reason why you can't outsource customer discovery and development, because you are the one who needs to keep your feet on the ground so that you understand the basic elements of your business so you can make smarter decisions. And so at this point, if you're considering outsourcing this task to someone else, I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to have to confront your fear of selling. Now, there's a great saying that I love, which is that first-time entrepreneurs are really focused on product. They're obsessing about it all the time. However, second-time and serial entrepreneurs are really focused on distribution. And this is why sales and marketing is such an important topic. Now, early on, we really want to be focusing on tasks which can move the needle quickly. And so some of these strategies that we'll use in the longer term may not be as useful in the early stages of getting some of these first customers. Why? Because you might not even be around in 3 months. And so investing a huge amount of time on SEO or content marketing might not be the right approach early on. Now, of course, everyone has different strengths. So if you do have an audience already on one of your social networks, you might want to leverage that to start communicating and attracting some of your ideal customers. And so one of the big reasons why we are doing this is to get people towards our offer and then understand the objections that they have, understand how they feel about the pricing if that's something you already have on this landing page. But essentially, it's so that we can start busting some of these objections or integrating them into the material that we use to pitch these people or to explain our product out. In addition, this is going to be confirming whether we are targeting the right customer or whether it takes way too much convincing to be able to get this individual over the pay line or interested in the product. Now, early on, I hear a lot of founders feeling uncomfortable about selling something that they haven't yet built. But the other path is to build something and then try to sell it and realize that it is not selling. So make sure to remember that this strategy is really about you protecting your own time and your money. Now, of course, some of these people may not buy from you in the end. The important thing is for us to understand the objections and whether we're targeting the right people, and then to start getting some of those early customers onboarded even before we've built the product. And this is probably the reason why they talk about building startups being very similar to jumping off a cliff with all the materials to build a plane and trying to assemble the plane and fly it off before you hit the ground and explode. So let's talk about how we want to approach this. Now, the first step of the process is going to be to determine where your ideal customer profile is, right? Where do these individuals interact? Where do they interact online? Where do they interact offline? And we're going to want to target these places to get some of our early customers. So after this step, we're going to want to create an outreach list. On LinkedIn, you can find specific people who fall within that demographic that you're targeting. If not, there might be some groups that you might be able to find them on. We'll be talking about that a little bit later, but if you can create an outreach list and do your research, find who these individuals actually are, and try to target them personally in a similar way that we did for customer discovery and development, then that's going to be your best approach. And the next part of the process, you've guessed it, You want to find something incredibly personal about them so they're more likely to actually answer your message. Now, the difference between the outreach message that you're going to write for customer discovery and the one with sales is that you're going to include your value proposition in there. You're not just going to be asking for 15 minutes of their time to talk about something you think would be interesting. Now, a great place to start is usually going to be LinkedIn because there's so much information about these individuals. You can go and search and filter your searches to be able to find these people. So for example, if you were targeting chief marketing officers in Los Angeles, then you could literally just filter that out and find individuals who qualify. Go into their profile, find something that they've talked about, and then reference that individual personalized thing in the opening message in the first line. Hi, Joe. I saw that amazing interview that you did with Entrepreneur Magazine. I loved your perspective on growth and how early stage founders should be going about it. I'm the founder of Eclipse Now, a software solution that allows you to XYZ so then you want to finish it off nicely as well. Make the message very short, and then the next stage is going to be used to use that message one-on-one with each one of the individuals that you've identified. Now, if you can't necessarily reach them on LinkedIn, you could also go and find their Twitter profile and send them a direct message on Twitter. Now, not everyone has Twitter direct messaging open for the public, but for those who do, that's a great option. Additionally, if there's a specific interest that qualifies these as your ideal customer, then you can go on Reddit, you can go on Facebook, you can go on LinkedIn groups and join some of these groups and start up a conversation. And within that, you'll be able to drop your link. Now, another awesome strategy is to leverage Quora. Now, Quora is a platform where essentially people come to ask all types of questions and where people are providing value-packed answers. So you can find people asking questions in related fields, and then you can answer that with a lot of value, get upvoted, and put a link to what you're doing within that longer description. Now, of course, you don't want to start spamming everywhere. That's the easiest way to get kicked out of any group, and also a way to lose credibility if you're doing it on places like Quora. Now, a really underrated way to get early stage customers is in person. I had a founder that I was training who was targeting police officers. What's the best way to find a police officer? You walk into a police station. Now, of course, a lot of people will be terrified about that, but in his case, he was able to have conversations with these individuals and gauge the interest, understand some of the objections. It was really a smart way to go about sales early on. So here you really want to get creative. You can also post on your personal Facebook group and see if anyone knows anyone in a specific industry can refer you to. So at least you can talk to these individuals. The idea is that you want to start building community. You can start going on Twitter, and every day for 30 days, you really write something that would add value to that ideal customer profile. You could start following people on that platform or following people on LinkedIn who are in your ideal customer profile. The idea is that you really want to do things that are going to get people to look at what you're doing, and then whether or not they sign up, that will be out of your control, but at least we're gonna really get some feedback from the tracking and analytics that we've set up in the earlier module. And usually when we get creative early on with how we can get customers, people call this growth hacking, right? Little hacks that you can find to grow. Now, a couple of really popular examples are for Airbnb, for example. Early on, when they were trying to get more people to list their properties on their website, they actually went and posted on Craigslist. They would say, hey, I'm looking for a place to rent, or hey, I'm looking for a place to stay. And they were able to get both listings and customers through Craigslist. In fact, they were able to grow their listings from 50,000 listings all the way to 550,000 listings. And this was all done leveraging this hack. Another great example of a growth hack is Dropbox. They started giving out free storage on their platform. And once people had started uploading there and using their system, then it was much more likely that they would upgrade to the plan once they reached their maximum limit. So a really smart way to get additional customers. Calendly was another example. After booking a specific meeting with someone that you're gonna meet in person or over Zoom, you would essentially see something that would say, why don't you get started with Calendly? So for every one customer that came in, they could get 1 or 2 customers out. so they didn't have to pay for those additional ones. Really smart way of growing. There are loads of different growth hacks that you can use, and I'll post a link with a couple below. And again, remember that your ability to build a startup, a successful startup, also lies in the ability for you to go out there and sell. So if you're having a problem with the sales side of things, well then you have to understand that this is a big factor in you succeeding overall. So you might want to start learning some basic sale things. And remember, do things that don't scale early on so that you can leverage all those learnings to scale later on. You probably won't close a bunch of deals early on. That's totally fine. We're trying to understand what the objections are, and we're trying to find ways to get people to pay for our product and over that hump. Because until you get your first sale, you are not a business. Now, everything I've said up until now in this video is not gonna be useful unless you followed all the other steps of early stage building a startup. You can find videos right here to be able to teach you those steps. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next episode. Take care.